Because how old you are can be a problem. Kids and old folks have a lot in common. They're both discriminated against because of their age, how old they are, or how old they aren't. That's how it starts. You're not old enough. You're too young. All of a sudden they're saying, sorry, you're too old.
To preface this video, before I get into it, the title is Ageism, an Objective Look. The key words being objective and look. I'm not going to suggest what should be done or what could be done in regards to ageism. Rather, I'm simply going to highlight the issues. The reason being that if I'm going to talk about a societal issue, I feel the best way to do so is to highlight laws, regulations, or policies put in place that are detrimental to the issue at hand, or provide statistical studies or evidence that gives a context with correlation between age and hardship. Now, to help depict this objective look, I've made this chart highlighting some key economic and policy issues people of various ages face. You'll notice some of these issues are common amongst many and stretch across most of the board, while other issues are more specific to a certain age group. Additionally, I'd like to mention this chart of issues is based within the United States because I live in the United States and am not familiar with the age laws or age statistics of every nation. So the two main issues people age 18 through 24 and 40 through 65 share are employment difficulty and cost of certain insurances, namely car insurance in both younger and older people, and health insurance in regards to the older population specifically. With employment, both groups listed struggle to find employment, or in the case of people age 40 through 65, to get re-employed after being laid off. But generally speaking, when looking at the employment rate, which only covers those who are actively seeking employment, it is harder for people age 18 through 24 to get employed, and people age 18 through 24 are less employed than their older counterparts. A common misconception is that older people can be fired based on their age, which is not true. In fact, there are even laws in place to prevent such a thing from happening, and if you were told you were being fired due to your age, you'd probably have a pretty good lawsuit in your favor. However, it is entirely plausible that an employer could likely be firing a person aged 40 through 65 based on their age, but instead suggests some other explanation as to the cause of an older person being let go from their job.
Statistically, people over age 50 are actually less likely to be laid off. But for those who do get the axe, the going has never been tougher. Laid off workers 34 and younger have a 36% chance of finding a new job within a year. But for those in their 50s, it's only 24%. And past age 62, it drops even more.
People over 50 are really in a hard spot these days because employers are very cautious to take on not only the salaries, but the benefits that they expect.
Jordan Goodman is an author and personal finance expert.
And in many cases, people 50 plus cannot replace the kind of job they had before. Even though they have lots of experience, experience is less valuable to employers today than being cheap.
Now, with insurance, the two main categories to look at is car insurance and health insurance. Car insurance is fairly straightforward and easy to comprehend. Take a look at this posting from the DMV. As car insurance companies calculate your premiums, they may place a large stock in your age if you or another driver in your household is under 25 or over 65 years old. While this may seem like age discrimination at first glance, the policy is based on solid evidence that these age groups, along with new drivers, are more dangerous on the roads and therefore a higher risk for the company to take on. The result is higher car insurance rates. Health insurance is also fairly straightforward and somewhat expected. Cost of health insurance goes up for older people because statistically older people suffer from declining health in ways that younger people do not. Moving on. Job opportunity restriction. You'll notice for both 18 through 20 and 21 through 24, obviously they cannot be public officials, senators, congressmen, governors, etc. due to age restrictions, and although you can join the police force at 18, you cannot graduate until the age of 21. Mandatory retirement age. Mandatory retirement is when a job has a set retirement based on age. For pilots, it's 65. For air traffic controllers, it's 56. For law enforcement and firefighters, it's 57. And various other occupations have mandatory retirement. Some states have their own mandatory retirement laws. Minnesota, for example, requires their judges to retire at age 70. Car rental restriction. In most cases, you cannot usually rent a car until the age of 20 or 21, and if you are renting between the ages of 20 and 24, certain restrictions or higher costs may apply. It varies from company to company. Adoption restriction. Adoption is legislated vastly different from state to state. Some states will allow for single parents at age 18 to adopt, while other states have age requirements set as high as 25. For more information about this issue, visit AmericanAdoptions.com. Driving difficulty. This issue is particularly a problem with younger people age 18 through 20. Disadvantaged point systems and harsh DMV punishments are applicable to this age group in ways that older age groups are not affected. Driving and the potential consequences it can cause are different from state to state, but to give some examples, drivers in Virginia age 18 through 19 will be required to take a driver improvement course if they receive points on their record, essentially if you're given a ticket. The DMV of Colorado is less lenient of point violations given to younger drivers. Essentially, young Colorado drivers have a lower point cap as compared to drivers age 21 and older, and the DMV of Georgia, for example, has a set of penalties that can cause specific trouble to drivers under the age of 21. Drinking restriction. Federal law dictates that no one under the age of 21 can legally drink in the United States. This all goes back to the National Minimum Drinking Age Act of 1984, signed into law by Ronald Reagan. For more in-depth information about this, click the links on the screen or see the description box below. Gun restriction. Not too much going on here, but put simply, people under the age of 21 are not allowed to own handguns or handgun ammunition, but rifles and shotguns are allowed for people age 18 and above. Hotel and casino restriction. Hotel and casino restriction varies from state to state. Some places it's 18, for others it's 21. For more information about this issue, see the links on the screen or see sources down below. Finally, let's address this middle group, people aged 25 through 39. The only genuine age issue I saw in this category was not being able to be a senator until the age of 30 and a presidential candidate until the age of 35, but otherwise the public official age requirement is usually set at 25. So that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it to be informative and interesting, and until then, I will see you next time.